How's it going, everyone? It's Mike the Gardener, and I'm back from a very unfortunate break. My phone was broken the other day, and I had to get a new phone, and I lost about 3 hours of garden updates. So this is a new phone, so if the quality is much better or the microphone is better, that is why. I'm going to try to beat the thunderstorm here so I can get this video out. So one of the things that I'm going to do as part of this video is talk about pretty much everything. I actually don't know what happened in the last video. It's been so long. So I'm going to go over each plant, and then I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've done. So you can see here the blueberries, you know, they're kind of slow, but the kale is starting to get big. I can probably start harvesting the kale. Same thing, the one blueberry bush that hasn't been doing well still continues to struggle. I keep watering it, I keep fertilizing it. You know, doing the best I can. The red leaf lettuce, the red sail lettuce is doing well. And the black-seeded Simpson is basically ready to harvest now. I can start pulling leaves from the outside and making salads out of that. Moving into the pepper garden, you can see that there's starting to be some flowers on some of the untopped pepper plants. There are even some peppers. These 4 plants, as you remember, are the cayennes. And our ghosts are doing really well. Here you guys can see more flowers and more growth. So this new phone is the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G. And I can already tell that, one, the quality of this camera is significantly better than my iPhone 7, but also there's a lot more stabilization. As I move around, there's essentially no shaking. And I kind of have a tremor in my left hand, so with the iPhone I found there to be a lot of shaking, but this is really smooth and it like autofocuses as I move. So this is one of the Thai dragons, and it continues to be a really interesting plant. This one was topped, and you can see how much side growth there is. I mean, this thing's just sending shoots everywhere. These plants are going to be super bushy. Then moving over here, once again, you can see that there's a good amount of flowers and some fruits that are starting to form. The serrano continues to be the only plant that's actually producing fruit. So there's 2 serrano pods. Okay, you guys, sorry I'm back. It went really out of focus and I couldn't figure out what it was doing. Oh no, it's done it again. This is me being incompetent with the new phone. I don't know what it's focusing on. Okay, I'm back for the 3rd time. I'm not going to try to do that again. I'm just going to let the phone do its thing and see if it works out. So you can see the jalapenos. Once again, these are the untopped plants. Lots of flowers, and you know, starting to see a few pods. Here you can see the first little jalapeno right there. Lemon drops continue to have a little bit of leaf damage, but overall they're doing a lot better. Kind of let the spare plants die. At this point, it is what it is. The topped jalapenos are still having their comeback, and they're all doing pretty well. The chocolate habaneros are doing fine. The plants that are in the different soil for the buckets, which I believe are these two plants, continue to be doing the worst. These are all topsoil, no peat moss. This plant got really beaten up. It's finally starting to produce a new set of leaves. You can see at the top, it had 4 leaves for the longest time, but now there's going to be more. And same thing here, there's another set of leaves. So this plant's, you know, probably like a month behind. So we'll see what happens. This is an Apocalypse Scorpion. It's really done well this week. And then the last pepper is this Ghost. I'm gonna pull this weed out. And this weed and this weed. So this is a new plant. I replaced it. Replaced one of the ones that wasn't doing well because we had some extra ghosts that were doing well. So the most part, everything is doing great in the pepper garden. And now I'm gonna take you guys to the tomato garden where there has been a lot of changes from the last video. So like I said, we're about to have a storm, so I want to film this video very quickly. I'm going to do it in a few parts. I'm going to do the herbs, the tomatoes, the squash and cucumbers, and then I'm going to talk about the 2 additions to the garden. So the oregano, thyme, and flat leaf parsley are all doing well. The basil continues to grow. I cut it back between the last video and now, and it's already back to where it was. When it starts to flower again, I'm gonna cut it back and just keep cutting it back and cutting it back. Rosemary is doing well. Mint is doing well, it's recovering. Some of the undergrowth wasn't doing so well, but it seems to be doing fine now. And the sage is growing a lot. Cilantro is struggling a bit, and the dill is doing okay. Actually, the dill's starting to flower. And wow, this camera is pretty cool that it will kind of go into portrait mode. Wow, that's neat. The wind's really kicking up now. I'm hoping it doesn't rain on me. So since the last video, we've pruned all of these tomatoes, and I think most of them have gotten staked a second time, some of them a third time. So the bottom pruning is done. You can see the bottom 18 or so inches is all done. Every plant is doing fine. There's no signs of disease. There are plenty of flowers and small tomatoes on most of the plants at this point. I would say the plants doing the best are the pineapples. They're the tallest. They seem to want to grow into 2 stalks, 2 stems. All of them have 2 stems at this point, so I'm starting to worry about the staking and, you know, keeping them straight and everything. But other than that, everything else is going really well. The mortgage lifters are actually getting really big now. They're probably 4 feet tall. The pineapples are probably 3.5 feet tall. And then everything else is, you know, 2 to 3 feet tall. The Cherokee purples, which are right here on the left, right behind the Super 100s, they're starting to produce tomatoes. The Romas in the back have tons of tomatoes on them. And I'm not sure if you guys remember, but these were the yellow pears that weren't doing very well. And I thought actually they might die, but they're just doing fine now. So the squash plants are doing really well. We've been treating them with neem oil. There was a little bit of blossom end rot that was happening in the past week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to not fertilize them for a week or 2. The idea being that maybe they're growing too fast to keep up with their nutritional needs. You know, if the plants get calcium deprived, that's where you can get blossom end rot. So some people would say, oh, well, put eggshells in the soil but it takes way too long for the calcium to be absorbed into the soil that way. But it looks like these squash are healthy now. There is some white splotching happening on the leaves, so we spray them down with neem oil. There are more bugs in the garden this year than there usually are, which I guess is a good thing. There's a lot of pollinators, there's a lot of bees this year, a lot of butterflies and things like that. But there's also just a lot of everything, beetles, and so we've been spraying neem oil on the tops of the squash plants. And the cucumber plants, you can see, have started to climb. The first half here are the pickling cucumbers, and then the shorter ones are the straight eights. The straight eights aren't quite as grown as the pickling cucumbers. They're just starting to flower, while these have there's plenty of cucumbers on there. Hundreds probably at this point, honestly. So we're going to be making some pickles. So I briefly wanted to talk about the two additions to the garden. So I built a little area outside of the original fence. The original fence are the T-posts on the left, and I brought in these T-posts on the right and wrapped it in 3-foot chicken wire, and then used the same fishing line fence to fill the top. I planted one of each of the 6 heirloom variety tomatoes, which are Mortgage Lifter, Mr. Stripey, Cherokee Purple, Delicious, Pineapple, and Evergreen Emerald. And so between the left fence, the right fence, and the cages, we're going to just let these go. No pruning, no fertilizing, just watering them. Nothing added to the soil. I just tilled down this row like 2 or 3 times and then planted these. And then the second addition is over here, and it's a similar kind of thing. So the original fence is on the right, these T-posts with this, I believe this is sort of like 4-foot wire coated 2-inch by 2-inch square fencing. And then what I did was I took one T-post and used this chain link fence that separates our house from the school, and I just tied every 6 to 8 inches some string. And then what we did was we planted 11 of the extra plants. These are a combination of Super 100s and yellow pears, and hopefully this just creates a hedge. I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't know if I showed it, but these plants were super leggy and super unhealthy when we planted them, and now for the most part they're all doing very well. There's a little bit of damage, I think, on this side of the fence. Some of the leaves are sticking out. I think animals are eating them, which is fine. That was kind of intended, that if we were going to lose anything, it would be the extra plants. So hopefully these guys just grow into the fence and into this kind of trellis that I made and just go wild, and we have a ton of tomatoes in a couple of months. So this is the week 5 garden update. It should have been the week 3 garden update, but obviously I just kept filming and editing, and I never got a video finished, and then I lost all of the data on my phone. It was dropped and it turned off and wouldn't turn back on, so it's just toast. It would cost like $1,000 to get the footage back, and that's just not worth it. So I think for whatever reason the quality on this just dropped in a major way. Now it's back. So this is the week 5 garden update, the 3rd garden update, and what I'm going to do is put this video up. I'm hoping I don't have to edit it. In fact, I don't know how to edit it because this is an Android phone, and so I don't have access to iMovie anymore. And so I'll have to find something that kind of replicates iMovie that's easy to use. So I might just clip these sections together and just post it and see what happens. But I will be making a video on Thursday after I fertilize. I'm expecting that we will have a squash to pick soon, probably by then. The Serrano is not going to ripen, but overall, everything's doing very well. The peppers, the squash, the cucumbers, the tomatoes, and the lettuce. I guess the herbs are doing well, except the cilantro. We'll have to see what's going on there in the next couple of days. But I will see you guys on Thursday, and I'm hoping that we finally get to pick a squash.